All right, everybody, we are continuing our conversation with Brian Lincer from Internicola Law Firm. We have been talking about FDD, franchise disclosure documents, how they're laid out. I describe them in the simple way of it's attorneys talking to attorneys. It's about 200 pages. You need to talk to someone smarter than me to really get into the details. Today, we're going to talk about item 5, 6, and 7. What's in there? Why is it important? And then we'll just kind of have a conversation around that. As you know, I lay out the FDD kind of like a dinner. So 1 through 4 is my appetizers, but now I'm getting to my protein, my meat and potatoes. This is item 5 through 7. So Brian, what's in there and what are we looking for?
Okay, yeah. So items 5 through 7, like you said, that's the protein, right? That's the what's coming out of my pocket.
Okay.
So the item 5 is the initial franchise fee and any upfront fees that you're going to pay prior to opening, essentially.
Okay.
So it could include an equipment package. It could include an initial inventory or something like that. But generally speaking, it's the franchise fee. It's that initial franchise fee that gives you that ability to participate in the system.
Okay.
Item 6, that's going to be more future focused. You know what? After my business is established, what are my fees going to be in the future? And those are things like royalties, marketing fees, advertising fees, technology fees, things like that. So that's the ongoing future expenses. And item 7 is going to be your initial investment. That's going to be the cost, the estimated cost of what the all-in, what you're going to have to invest initially to get involved to start the business up. So that can include things like, it's going to include the initial franchise fee as well. Same thing as item 5. It's going to include any build out that you have to do in a location. It's going to include equipment packages. It's going to include insurance. And so basically what I need to invest to get into this. And it's usually a low and high range. So usually falls somewhere in the middle, in between there, on average.
And I usually describe to people and let them know the range. A lot of the range is going to come from your build out expenses. It seems as that's normal because it's going to cost me less to build out my location here in Appleton, Wisconsin, than it is for you to build out your location in New York, New Jersey, right? So one of the other things that's usually in there, which I like, is that working capital line. And usually, are you seeing that 3 months of cash flow, more? And what would you advise someone when they're looking at that part?
So the mandatory disclosure is 3 months, right?
Okay.
So that's what the Federal Trade Commission says. Franchisor, you have to disclose at least 3 months of additional capital. When I speak to franchisees, sometimes, it kind of depends on the system.
Yeah.
And a lot of that information for me comes from existing franchisees. When did we break even? Things like that. And it depends on the type of business. Restaurant businesses generally are, quicker to get going, and whereas service-based, it may take a longer road to establish, the base clientele. But generally speaking, that's something I like to ask franchisees about. And one of the good questions I like is, when did you start breaking even? In some systems, it's 3 months, some it's 6, some it's a year. Obviously, the more working capital you can have, the better, because I think where you run into it, you never want to be in a situation where you're short on cash.
Exactly.
In any business.
Run out of capital before you run out of runway. So
yeah, so it's important to have that. So, but it really is. It depends on the brand. It depends on the type of business, and it's really something that you should, the more cushion you have, the better.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.